The night of destiny begins. Guests from every corner arrive at the mansion, their carriages and cars shining under lantern light. But among the crowd, a quiet mystery is about to step through these gates. From a simple rickshaw, she arrives, not like the others in diamonds and gold, but with elegance no jewel can match. Her daughter clutches her hand, eyes wide with wonder. Whispers spread through the crowd. Who is she? Why does her presence command so much silence? Every glance follows her, yet she walks calmly, as if the night itself bows before her. For the little one, this is no ordinary night. Her tiny hand grips her mother's tightly, eyes sparkling as if she already knows. Her mother carries a secret greater than anyone can imagine. She steps across the golden gates, each step measured, each breath calm. Behind her calmness hides years of silence, and tonight, every secret begins to awaken. Not everyone welcomes her. Among the glittering guests, jealous eyes burn. They see a threat, a beauty untouched by arrogance, and they cannot bear it. The ballroom halts, all eyes lift, all eyes turn. Beneath the chandelier's glow, she stands as though painted in light. The air grows still, and whispers fade into silence. With a simple bow, she commands the hall. No crown, no title, yet her grace outweighs them all. Her daughter beside her, a quiet flame in the storm of eyes. The music begins, yet the melody belongs not to the instruments, but to her. Seated guests pretend to listen, but their eyes betray them, always finding her in the crowd. At the window, the moonlight kisses her face. The hall behind her glitters, yet her eyes look beyond, silent, steady, as if she already knows her destiny waits within these walls. The grand ballroom shimmered with golden light, but as she entered, silence followed. Every whisper, every glance, turned toward her, the silent queen. She held her daughter's hand tightly. To the world, she was a mystery, silent, graceful, untouchable. In hushed tones, the nobles whispered, "Who was she? Where had she come from? And why did her silence feel louder than words?" But her daughter, wide-eyed and innocent, saw only beauty. To her, the chandeliers were stars, and her mother, the queen of them all. She stood beneath the staircase, silent yet commanding. Without a word, she owned the night. Her daughter tugged at her gown, whispering of music. Even in silence, life had its melodies. But not every gaze was kind. Envy lurked, sharp and venomous, behind painted smiles. She did not answer their whispers nor return their stares. Her silence was her shield and her crown. But her daughter felt it, the weight of the room, the eyes that judged. She pressed closer to her mother. And so, with every step, the hall bent to her presence. They called her silent, but tonight, silence spoke louder than any voice. And so, with every step, the hall bent to her presence. They called her silent, but tonight, silence spoke louder than any voice. And so, with every step, the hall bent to her presence. They called her silent, but tonight, silence spoke louder than any voice. And so, with every step, the hall bent to her presence. They called her silent, but tonight, silence spoke louder than any voice. And so, with every step, the hall bent to her presence. They called her silent, but tonight, silence spoke louder than any voice. And so, with every step, the hall bent to her presence. They called her silent, but tonight, silence spoke louder than any voice. And so, with every step, the hall bent to her presence. They called her silent, but tonight, silence spoke louder than any voice. And so, with every step, the hall bent to her presence. They called her silent, but tonight, silence spoke louder than any voice. And so, with every step, the hall bent to her presence. They called her silent, but tonight, silence spoke louder than any voice. And so, with every step, the hall bent to her presence. They called her silent, but tonight, silence spoke louder than any voice. And so, with every step, the hall bent to her presence. They called her silent, but tonight, silence spoke louder than any voice. The dining hall shimmers with golden light, every detail polished to perfection. As the queen steps inside, the conversations die down. Her presence is commanding, yet her silence weighs heavier than 1,000 words. Every noble seated knows something unspoken lingers tonight. Her hand rests lightly on the table, jeweled fingers calm yet firm. But beneath that elegance, tension builds. Her silence is not weakness, it is a shield, hiding thoughts that could change the kingdom forever. The young princess shifts uneasily in her seat, her innocent eyes searching for reassurance. Though she tries to appear calm, her small hands fidget with the fabric of her napkin. Even she can feel the undercurrent of unease sweeping through the grand hall. Far across the long table, whispers snake between two nobles. Their voices are hushed, but their eyes betray suspicion. They watch the queen closely, as if waiting for the smallest slip, the faintest crack in her perfect mask of silence. With deliberate grace, the queen raises her glass. Her calm expression offers no clue of her thoughts, yet the gesture commands silence across the hall. Every eye follows her movement, wondering if this toast will carry words or remain as silent as she has always been. The princess gazes at her mother with awe, torn between pride and fear. She longs to understand the unspoken strength hidden in that silence, yet deep down she wonders why must her mother always carry such heavy secrets alone. Suddenly, the sharp clang of silver shatters the quiet. A servant's trembling hands betray him as the plate crashes onto the marble floor. Gasps echo, eyes shift nervously, every sound feels amplified in the tension-filled silence of the queen's court. The queen turns her gaze toward the trembling servant. She says nothing, yet her silence speaks louder than any rebuke. With only a single glance, she restores order, and the servant bows deeply, his body shaking with both fear and respect. One noblewoman lowers her gaze, biting her lip in nervous restraint. Every stolen glance toward the queen feels like a question unasked, an answer feared. In the queen's silence, they hear echoes of judgment, even where none may exist. The hall falls into an uneasy stillness. The queen, a radiant figure beneath the chandeliers, glow. Around her, whispers die, hearts race, and fear grows. In her silence, she holds an invisible power, one that bends the will of the room without a single word spoken. Her eyes glimmer in the candlelight, calm, unwavering, impossible to read. To some, they appear soft and kind. To others, they are sharp and watchful. In her gaze lies both comfort and fear, and no one dares to truly understand which one is true. Amidst the tension, a tender moment blossoms. The princess rests her cheek gently against her mother's arm, seeking comfort in silence. To her, the queen's quiet strength feels like a shield, an unspoken promise that she will always be protected. Beneath the polished table, hidden from sight, two nobles slip a folded parchment from one hand to another. Their smiles above the table remain polite, but their hands betray schemes born of ambition. Not even the queen's silence can mask the treachery whispering in her court. The queen's eyes narrow ever so slightly. She notices everything, every whisper, every gesture, every shadow. Her grip on the glass tightens, though her face remains serene. She lets the silence linger, allowing her enemies to believe they are unseen. A sudden draft stirs the flames above, and the chandelier flickers. Shadows crawl across the queen's face, painting her in light and darkness alike. To the watching nobles, she becomes something greater than mortal, a figure of mystery, power, and fear. The young princess stares upward, her wide eyes filled with awe as the light dances. She wonders if her mother commands even the fire itself. To her, the queen is not just her mother, she is an unshakable force, a silent storm wrapped in grace. A noble rises, lifting his glass with a forced smile. His hands tremble, betraying the calm he tries to display. He speaks, but his voice falters under the weight of silence. Every word feels like a risk in the presence of the queen. The queen does not interrupt. She does not smile, nor does she frown. She listens, silent as stone, her presence alone enough to unnerve the man. Her silence is not absence, it is judgment, quiet and merciless. The noble falters, lowering his glass, as sweat beads across his brow. His voice cracks, and his words stumble. Around him, the hall remains silent, every eye fixed upon him, yet it is not the room that terrifies him. It is the queen's silence that crushes his spirit. At the heart of the hall, the queen and her daughter sit together, glowing in the chandelier's light. Around them, shadows stretch across the nobles, as if separating royalty from the rest. In that moment, the queen seems untouchable, an eternal symbol of strength in silence. The princess gazes at her mother with a smile, tiny, yet full of admiration. To her, the queen's silence is not emptiness, it is strength. In her young heart, she believes her mother's silence protects them both, even from dangers unseen. A jeweled hand trembles as a noble woman adjusts her necklace, forcing a smile she cannot truly hold. She feels the queen's silence pressing down upon her, as if each jewel weighs heavier with judgment. Her beauty falters beneath the quiet storm. A faint smile graces the queen's lips, yet it reveals nothing. Is it kindness? Or is it warning? The nobles cannot tell, and in that uncertainty, they feel the true power of the silent queen. No one ever truly knows her heart. From above, the scene is clear. The queen and her daughter shine like golden flames, while the rest of the court drowns in shadow. Light has chosen its side, and silence has drawn its line. The kingdom belongs to her, whether they accept it or not. A humble servant approaches, pouring wine into her glass. His hands shake, not from the weight of the bottle but from the weight of her silence. Even the lowliest of men feel it. Her silence is no mere absence, it is a crown heavier than gold. The wine swirls softly in her glass, catching the light like liquid fire. It shimmers, untouchable, just as she does. In every detail of her being, the queen embodies grace and danger, beauty and silence, woven as one. The young princess lifts her cup shyly, imitating her mother's every gesture. She does not yet understand the power of silence, but she feels it. She believes that if she follows her mother's path, she too will grow into a queen the world must respect. Two nobles glance at one another, eyes filled with doubt and fear. Their whispers had promised power, but now they feel only the weight of her silence. Yet in fear grows ambition, and ambition is dangerous in the shadow of a queen. The queen sets her glass upon the table, the crystal ringing softly like a bell of judgment. The entire hall stills, hearts thundering in their chests. She has not spoken, but her silence commands obedience greater than any word could. In the silence, the queen reigns supreme, with her daughter at her side, glowing like a future yet unwritten. She commands the hall without a single word. The silent queen has spoken through silence itself.